conscious taking of someone else's life. How can you let someone kill another human and pass it off as if they robbed a bank? It is different. Therefore, it requires a more serious punishment, a bigger punishment, a life-altering punishment. In order to acquire true justice, you need the punishment of death. So I stand before you, supporting the death penalty, and hopefully persuading you to hear my reasoning and support it too. The death penalty should be legalized everywhere, because it is the real meaning of justice. The punishment should fit the crime. That is the main responsibility of the court of law, so they should follow it. They need to bring justice, or moral rightness, to the victims, the families, and the people who they are responsible for protecting. The death penalty started centuries ago. Usually used in tribes and based off religious beliefs, you could be punished for treason, leaving your religion, or like today, murder. The death penalty was more popular during the 1600s and 1700s, especially used in Salem witch trials. Then it was used widely spread for military and federal reasons. Any form of treason and betrayal to your country was punishable by death. As the years went by, it became less common to sentence one to death, but there are still a number of deaths by lethal injection. Instead of the old ways like beheading, hanging, stretching, pressing, and the electric chair, the new and more gentle way is lethal injection. Currently, the estimated yearly amount of murders is between 16,000 and 15,000 in the U.S. Though it changes year to year, those numbers could be greatly decreased if an action is taken. The death penalty is very relevant today because of very high murder and rape rates that occur so frequently. It is necessary that this issue be pushed because the legal systems need to send out a clear message that these types of crimes will not be tolerated and the punishment will be death. Taking someone's life away forfeits all your rights to your own life. That is what people who favor the death penalty say. However, you might not agree, but I do. By committing a murder, and by murder I mean knowingly and willingly taking someone's life for no legal or defensive reason, you show that you believe life is a waste, and you do not respect it. So what is your life to anybody else? This is supported by the saying, what you do to others is what it should be done to you. Or as some people might say, an eye for an eye. Therefore, if you kill someone, doesn't that mean that you should be killed too? Now you could argue that killing is still killing, and you cannot just do it freely. But really, if this person killed someone you cared about, wouldn't you want revenge and the same to happen to them? However, what you do to others is not what should be done to you, isn't a law. So how can you incorporate that into the legal system? Well, you can't, but it's still a valid point and respected belief by many that can influence people. However, this still does not fully cover the saying. It is just a small part. Because if you took an axe and hit someone in the head with it purposely, killing them, then this saying would mean that that is what should be done to you. But that is not what I'm saying. Yes, the fact that you killed someone by hitting them in the head with an axe is horrible, but I don't mean that should be done to you, and I don't mean you should be killed by being hit in the head with an axe too. I am saying that in some way you did kill this person, so I believe it is now the purpose of the legal system to end your life by lethal injection. Not bashing you in the head, but by administering these shots that are physically painless, that in a short amount of time will end your life. Still, that is not nearly as bad as what you chose to do. So, how can you still consider it murder? Clearly, there are two completely different ways of ending a life. Murders severely affect the family and friends of the victim. Not only are they completely shaken up by the experience of someone they love being murdered and taken away from them, but they also can no longer feel completely safe. How are they supposed to sleep soundly at night, knowing that the person who stole the life of someone they care about is sleeping somewhere else, possibly still thinking about what they did? What does this do to people who might commit this crime? The worst that will happen is you'll be locked up forever? That is a lot better than the alternative of death. So, although the murderer is put away, all of the others out there have no reason to stop committing a crime. Everyone knows that family and personal opinions should not matter in a court of law. But how can you deny these people revenge when they are partial victims too? Craig Rice, a delegate from Maryland, had a serious murder in his family when his aunt and her nanny were both shot and killed in the eye in their own home. He now, along with his family, believe that the man who came into their sister and aunt's home, along with the man who hired him, deserved the worst possible punishment, death. Craig has now, over time, become more open about everything that happened in that murder and the after effects. He claims that because those men are only sentenced to life in prison, his mother has been woken up in the middle of the night, panicked because she believes they are still coming to get her. Could you imagine having that feeling all the time? Every time you fall asleep, you see their face, and it truly does haunt you. Another horrifying case is one that you might know about. In May 2008, William Balfour moved out of his home with wife Julia Hudson, the sister of Jennifer Hudson. Less than 7 months later, in October, Balfour went on a murderous mission. He appeared at that same home during the day where his ex-wife's mother and brother were there. Upon arriving, he immediately found them and shot them both, killing the mother in the living room and the brother in the bedroom. However, with two already dead, he did not stop. Instead, he commits an even more disgusting crime by taking Julia Hudson's son Julian, who was Balfour's stepson. He then takes Julian into his car in the back seat, where he shoots the boy in the head, killing him. Later, when an autopsy is done, it shows that there were numerous gunshot wounds to this 7-year-old boy. Now, not only did Jennifer Hudson and her sister Julia lose 3 important members of their family suddenly, but then they had to go and identify those bodies. That is an image I am sure will never leave their minds. William Balfour is now pleading not guilty with the charge of 3 homicides. If, and only if, he is ruled guilty of these crimes, do you think it is fair that he should spend the rest of his life in jail? Is it fair that he should get to live after he completely destroyed a family, after he killed 2 innocent adults, and then gruesomely killed a child? I see only one truly fitting punishment that will give the Hudson family just the least bit of closure, and since nothing can really help them through this. That would be why I'm speaking here today. Death. Death for the crimes he committed that in return disgusted the public, tortured a family, and horrifically killed 3 human beings. Most importantly, showing what will happen when you commit such a serious crime will show others the consequences and hopefully prevent them from committing the crime as well. I know for sure that if I knew there was a consequence I did not like for doing something, I most certainly would not do it. That probably applies to other people as well. Unless you want to die, who would commit a crime such as murder to then be caught and killed themselves? Not only do you possibly kill someone else, but you also kill yourself. Using lethal injection as a punishment for such serious crimes more often will send out a message to everyone that you will be severely punished if you choose to go through with these crimes. Yes, there is no real way to show that this will work, but how do you find out until you try? I propose the plan for change on my perspective of the death penalty is for it to be legalized everywhere. I view that it is a useful mechanism for punishment. Therefore, I propose a law be made to legalize and more commonly and appropriately use lethal injection in the court systems. This plan also provides a safe and satisfied feeling to the families of the victims and to the public who are disgusted by the act committed and trying to prevent it from happening again to another person, possibly someone they care about. Now, all you have to do is speak up. No matter when or where, speaking out your opinion does do something, and with that you can get groups of people who share that same opinion to speak out with you. Because people truly do listen, and they will hear what you're trying to say. It not only lets people in charge, like the government, hear what you're saying and take it into account, but it spreads the word to others and could possibly change their opinions too. So, speaking out about the reasons for the death penalty and its benefits to society could lead to someone listening and doing something about it. In conclusion, the death penalty should be fully legalized for justice, for victims and their families, and to send out a clear message to all people who believe they can get away with crimes. Not only is this right, but it is what the majority of the people in the United States want. According to a recent poll on their opinion on whether or not they support the death penalty, 65% of the people said they were in favor of it. If this were a presidential election, that party and nominee would be considered dominating by a huge majority. Therefore, it is the same here. People have spoken, share their opinions, and they should be taken into account. Next time you hear the news of a murder and passed off because it does not relate to you, just take a moment and think. Because that person has family and friends who are suffering greatly. That person had a life, and then they did it because someone thought they could get away with taking it. Well, do not let them get away with it. Stand up and support the death penalty.